Aldabra is the world's second largest coral atoll by land area and is part of the outer islands of the Seychelles in the western Indian Ocean. The atoll has been managed and protected by the Seychelles Island Foundation (SIF) since 1979 and was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1982. The atoll is home to the world's largest population of Aldabra giant tortoises, one of the largest tortoises in the world. It supports one of the largest nesting populations of the endangered green turtle in the Indian Ocean. The atoll is also a breeding ground for thousands of seabirds, including a large breeding population of great and lesser frigate birds. The marine environment is highly diverse with mangroves, seagrasses, and coral reefs, supporting an abundance of fish and other marine life.
Operating a research station on such a remote and isolated atoll is not easy and continually poses many logistical and financial challenges. With over 95% of SIF's income originating from tourism, SIF has suffered major hit to its financing model during the COVID-19 pandemic. Over 250,000 US dollars of direct revenue from tourist visits to Aldabra alone has been lost this season due to the cancellation of 5 expedition cruises. In fact, this year will have been the first time that Aldabra was able to fully cover its high operational costs itself and actually generate a saving. Due to the global travel restriction coupled with Seychelles' ban on cruise ships until 2022, means these present serious issues and long-lasting uncertainty to funding Aldabra's research programs and ultimately its protection.
We have seen contracts across SIF shortened and time on Aldabra cut short for several long-term staff and volunteers due to the cancelling of flights. This has not only disrupted our community on Aldabra and within SIF, but has severely limited work plans for projects, research, and critical maintenance as flights transporting replacement staff, researchers, and consultants to Aldabra have been cancelled. The maintenance of the research station's IT system, buildings, and solar power system, all of which need urgent and specialized repairs, have been postponed. The team on Aldabra always have to be extremely resourceful to sustain operations, but even more so now.
The Aldabra Reef Monitoring Program has been ongoing uninterrupted since 2013. Every year we monitor the benthic coral reef and fish communities across the whole atoll. It is an essential part of our management plan and one of our key monitoring programs. Currently, we're not even sure whether 2020 surveys will take place, because we have limited staff and we don't know how many transport flights we can schedule or afford to bring new staff or researchers to Aldabra. What would have been another action-packed year for us, building on past and recent successes, has in many ways slowed down and become uncertain. Working in an extremely isolated place means that all our operations and programs need to be planned well in advance to ensure that everything is as cost-effective as possible, because logistical costs are so high. Therefore, the uncertainty around if and when researchers or expeditions can visit makes planning very difficult. To manage these visits, SIF often needs to bring in or hire additional staff, or send more food, or transport specialized equipment, which can take months to organize. The logistical challenges of operating Aldabra were already costly and very difficult. The effects of COVID-19 have only heightened this. This pandemic adds a whole extra dimension of complexity to achieving our goals and could lead us to stripping back our entire scientific programs to the bare minimum.
The cancellation of flights to Aldabra has also affected the local Seychellois community on a national scale. Although Aldabra is over 1,000 kilometers away from Seychelles' populated island and is virtually unreachable to the vast majority of Seychellois, the one way in which SIF bridges this gap is through the annual eco-school trip to Aldabra, which has had to be postponed and possibly even cancelled. The trip, which usually comprises of 12 school children and their teachers, selected to visit Aldabra in recognition of their accomplishments in environmental protection and sustainability, has been taking place for 20 years and has only ever been disrupted by piracy. Several of SIF staff are former eco-school participants, all of whom were inspired by their visit to return and work to conserve Aldabra. This was never the aim. However, it has been an extremely positive and encouraging surprise. The Eco School trip is the cornerstone of SIF's education and outreach activity for Aldabra. Although only a few children get to come here, they act as ambassadors for the work SIF does and the protection of the atoll. In order for the protection of an area to be supported, people must love it. But to love it, you must first know and experience it. Without the Eco School trip, we lose the one chance we get to share the inspirational beauty of Aldabra with the next generation of Seychelles.
Aldabra, if working on the atoll teaches you anything, it is the incredible resilience of nature. In its lifetime, this atoll has been submerged several times. We humans have introduced rats and goats, invasive birds, harvested thousands of turtles and giant tortoises, and our lifestyle is the cause for the bleaching of many of its corals. Despite all this, Aldabra has prevailed and remains rich in aquatic and marine life. Under our protection, the goats and invasive birds have been removed. The turtle population have increased by 8, and during a recent deep dive to around 25 meters, we witnessed a near pristine coral reef. So we must remember that there's always hurdles to overcome and still much work to be done. But nature is resilient, and so is the Seychelles Islands Foundation. COVID-19 has underlined the increasing fragility of our world and global society as we continue to destroy nature for short-term economic gains. All marine ecosystems, protected or not, are facing the climate crisis and other global environmental problems that have been invisible in the past, like coral bleaching, marine litter, overexploitation, and many more. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has been the only thing that has managed to make the world pause. In that pause, we must take stock, and if we are not in a position to pull the resources together to save the jewels of our seas, our marine World Heritage sites, we accept defeat in the battle for our future and the future of our children. Let us provide people with scientific data, information, and images to transform the world. We need to communicate. Marine science and conservation is not a luxury, but essential to our very own survival. Thank you for this chance to share our story and the story of Aldabra.